Hello, people of this planet, and welcome to another episode of D&D Stories. It has been far too long since I last posted a video. Too bad, I'm really lazy. Oh my, how many things have happened ever since we last talked about Dungeons and Dragons. We actually started two new campaigns, one of which I'm not entirely sure I'll be talking about, but for today, the one I will talk about is going to be a campaign that has no name, because our DM is really lazy. I think it was called, actually no, I think I do know what it's called. The campaign that we will be talking about today is called The Seven Swords. I think that's what it's called. Something like that. I won't put a title on this video just yet, just to clarify with my DM, let him know that if that is either or not the correct title for this. Most on a little note, I want to say this real quick. Most stories in Dungeons and Dragons have a very fine, comprehensive storyline, story arc, characters, plot twists, and all that fun stuff that storytellers, story writers, and dungeon masters and lore masters and everything of the sort, they all take advantage to give one great and amazing, memorable D&D story. This is not one of them. Yeah, this campaign is going to be a very interesting one, so without further ado, welcome to what I think this is going to be called, the story of the Seven Swords. We all started off by getting an interesting letter, so to say. I can't remember how we actually got this letter. I believe, if I remember correctly, we were all minding our own business, then all of a sudden, that shit happened again. But if you were there for my last videos, we didn't teleport anywhere. This time we actually traveled. But before we get to that, this letter went something. Well, of course we weren't given any props or anything like that, so I don't know exactly what it says. But basically it was like, "Hey, show up to my convenient castle, and I need you to do something for me." It's like, okay. We all ended up rolling, and so far, the amazing stars playing in this campaign for the first, I believe, 2 sessions were Lambert, Dennis, and Patches the Liar. That's all you really need. Just the best ones. We had rolled, in a sense, initiative, more or less, to see who would get where first. I don't remember what I rolled, but I got there first. I actually rolled so high, I got there about 3 days early, in fact. Quite interesting, if you ask me. Dennis rolled God knows what as well. I'd wager probably around a 12. Showed up about a day after me, still being 2 days early. However, Richard, aka Patches, rolled, I think it was a natural 1. I think. And he ended up having trouble on his way here. Now here's where it all kind of goes to shit. He is on a boat. That boat is having some difficulty, more like turbulence that you'd have on a plane. They were basically having some really rough waves. But this dingling, I don't remember what the situation got to, like how the situation got to the way it was. But there were 2 idiots knocked out on the floor. And Patches decides, you know what? I'm going to steal from them. He gets up, and he's like, "Oh, sir," and if I remember correctly, it was like an old man and a little boy. It's like, "Oh, sir, do you need any help? Let me help you real quick. Please, I'll be a good boy." He helps them up, rolls sleight of hand, and then just swipes 2 copper straight from under their noses. And I sat there, I'm like, "You're stealing from people who have copper. That's already, like, you just took their life savings. They could be going to, like, their like this world's version of America, and you just like stole everything from them. Like, how could you? You know, that's pretty messed up. Yeah, it is pretty messed up. However, that is not the meat of this. What? Oh my god. Let me tell you something real quick. Patches has to be the stupidest character I have ever seen play Dungeons and Dragons. He makes things so much more complicated than what they need to be. And this was made evident when he got to the port. Now, to let you know, the land that we're on, or the land that we were basically summoned to, quote unquote, and I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that real soon. The place where we're at right now is a place called, a land, a continent, a continent called Korriban. Now, for those of you who watch Star Wars, hopefully I don't get sued. Please don't sue me. When he got to the port, it was normal people, you know, getting off, and then, if I remember correctly, I don't remember, it was 2 or 3 guards stopped them, and he said, random bag check. So, what does the fool do? Here, look, I'm looking at my notes real quick. It was the greatest thing ever. He's like, oh, okay, this is what I mean by he makes everything so complicated. He gives them his weapons, his disguise kit, his poisoner's kit. Might as well give them your cloak and a kidney. You're giving them everything, dude. Just give them your gold. Might as well like go with that. But the thing is that they take away the illegal contraband. They take away his poisoner's kit. So he freaks out. Well, he doesn't freak out in a sense, but he gets really offended, and he like straight up. Oh god, straight up tries. I don't remember if he tried to stab someone or used firebolt. Either way, it was really funny, the end result, because the guards, they told him to roll initiative, our DM. He rolled quite crappily. You know, he rolled pretty bad. With that, rolling quite bad, the guard rolls a natural 20, pulls out a knife and holds it right up to his neck. It's like, if you dare attack, I'm gonna like straight up murder you. And I'm like, do it. No, it didn't happen because Patches actually backed off, got arrested like a dumbass, and oh god. And this is where it comes in, where I thought to myself, this could have been avoided. This is the reason why he showed up about, well, no, I think he showed up on time, but he was like in such a bad situation. He ended up being like, he got arrested, okay? He got arrested, everything was taken from him, and what ended up happening was, in his prison cell, when I was talking to my other players, asking what had happened during the session, it was something really interesting, because he got knocked out, and I don't remember the reason why, and I like what I put in my notes. I cannot remember, so I'll try to figure something out. Dennis had said that the dude wanted like a blowjob, and I'm like, I don't know about that one. And it's like, don't drop the soap, and I'm like, okay. So then he straight up just got like knocked out for some reason, but I don't remember what happened. Apparently he also tried to break out more or less, but we were arguing over that, so I won't talk about that too much. There's no need to worry about that. He was actually knocked out for 2 whole days. Now, could you believe that? Getting hit so hard by something that you get knocked out for 2 days straight. I cannot remember if he had rolled will to wake up or anything like that. I honestly don't remember. But, in the end, he got knocked out like an idiot. Nothing happened. Freaking, and the thing is, this is what made me realize. If I remember correctly, this took like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, right? In real life, to get this settled. And we haven't even started the campaign yet. Like, Richard, what are you doing? Freaking wasting our time, like, damn. I swear. My players are like the stupidest and weirdest guys ever, I'm telling you. Anyways, continuing on. We ended up... So basically, Dennis and I are rather much together. We're making our way to the land of Mako, who is the person we do have to meet. And one thing I really disliked about this is that Mako is conveniently like the king's son from this land. And I sat there and I just sat there like, the way his character was introduced when he first started playing was that he was like a bard in a random like bar. And I sat there, I'm like, so conveniently he's the son of the king. When I created this land, or at least when I adapted it into Dungeons and Dragons, there was no plan for a king. But whatever. In a sense, I have no idea how he became king. He never talked about it. We have no idea who his dad is. That's on him. And not only that, but that's not the only thing that fucking pisses me off. Okay, look, I can't get into that yet. I'll get into that. Let me look at my notes real quick. Yes, I can get into it this episode. Sort of fucking good. Anyways, I honestly don't remember this. But when I was writing it down, I had no idea what I was writing down. And on our way to the castle, we had found like some land, or not a land, I'm sorry, my apologies. We had found some body. God, what was it? It was a path. Okay, it was like a dirt path. And with that dirt path, according to Dennis, I was like suspicious, but I honestly don't remember because it was very forgettable what was happening in those in that time. I was apparently very suspicious, and Dennis, being a druid, he actually took a look into he has like this spell that allows him to talk to plants. And the plant that he spoke to, which is actually a plant that he took, which was really strange. I don't remember if he took the seed or the plant itself. But whatever. Too lazy to remember details at the finest fashion. He had talked to this plant. It was basically like some ghetto plant you find at like the south side while drinking Hood and the Juice. That did not turn out the way I wanted it to. Oh God, I'm so sorry. I'm a little bit tired right now. Please excuse me. I'm about to drink some water. Delicious water. I love doing this. I'm so sorry. Anyways, we go back, and Dennis basically talks to this plant, and he's like, Mr. Plant, have you seen anything suspicious? Well, I don't know, cuz I can't tell you nothing. The last thing I saw was my best friend to the right of me get eaten. But the strangest thing ever is that plant was like my best friend. So I would assume that when he got eaten, that like donkey thing died, like right on the spot, like no more than 2 seconds afterwards. And it's like, damn, man, freaking my buddy Joey just kicked the shit out of it in the inside. AKA, I'm poisonous as fuck, so don't touch me. Something like that. Probably did not go anything like that, but I'll be honest with you, the way I did it probably sounds far more interesting than the way Mario did it. I don't know how I did it. Trust me, I really don't remember. I'll get some water eventually. I'm not gonna drink right now. Oh God. Water's going down the wrong windpipe. Shit. After that, we ended up going to the castle. We finally made it. And the thing was is that when we actually got there, apparently the guards were pretty much waiting for us. I go up to one of the guards. I'm like, "Excuse me, he's waiting inside for you, sir." And I'm like, "Okay then." I open the door and we go in. Don't remember what the castle looked like. Just imagine a generic castle, cuz Mario, I can't remember his description. It's probably my fault because I'm pretty certain he described something like this. However, I just don't remember what the castle looked like. All I do remember, if I do remember correctly, it is about 3 stories or 4 or 5. It's not really a castle. It's more of a fort. Now that I think about it. Oh god, the hiccups. It's more of a fort than anything. And with that, our rooms were set up nicely. It was nice silk thingies, blankets along with pillows and whatnot. We had a desk, we had chairs, pretty much butlers. I mean, at our whim, it was pretty cool. I actually liked the amount of things you could do in the castle. That was a good variety of things, that's for sure. And with that came great responsibility, because I'm dying of yawning. But in the end, oh god, and I gotta talk about this. For some reason, I decided to be an idiot. My character went into Barry's room, who still hasn't shown up yet to the campaign. Barry, Jose, if you're watching this, like, the fug. I basically went into his room, stole his pillows, and I contemplated making a pillow fort. Didn't happen, sadly. Un momento. Mmm. Some delicious water. Anyways, we go into Richard. Now that we've settled down, Richard is still nowhere to be found. And basically what ended up happening was he had gotten up. And when we were talking about this, he was like, "Okay, so basically I got up and it was like he apparently used this like spell called message. Never heard of that spell, and I know a good amount of D&D spells. Like there's some really fun D&D spells. But message is definitely not one that I've ever heard of. I guess that's D&D for you. Really so big. You'll keep discovering brand new things years after you've started playing. He used message and told Mako that, "Hey, I need help. I'm in prison. Come pick me up." He Mako gets the message, and okay, so this motherfucker apparently just out of nowhere knows like teleportation magic. Like, what the shit? Last I left him, when he was playing in my campaign, he was like level 5 or something like that. To my knowledge, there is no way he has teleportation magic. This is, if I remember correctly, this is exactly the way he described it. He was like, "Oh, I need to go like take like remember, Patches didn't even tell Mako where he was. If I remember correctly, he didn't say that he was in court, but all he says, "I'm in prison." And it's like, okay, so my character basically all he does is like, oh, he like Wingardium Leviosa and fucking opens a damn two-way portal, tells them to like come on in, and it's like, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, bruh, your character all of a sudden knows like, I understand. And just to let you know, there was a year before this campaign. Like a year has passed. But I thought to myself, I'm like, you're telling me that your character's all of a sudden the son of a king, so he's like the prince, even though he started out in a fucking like bar in the middle of nowhere. Fucking, what was it? Gay ass shit becoming freaking portal magic, whatever. Like, I need to like calm down already, cause this is Anyways, he uses teleportation magic somehow, and apparently, when we were talking about this, we were Dennis Mako's character tried to like trick him in a sense, teleport him to the edge of a cliff and see if he'll walk out to his own death. And I sat there like, so your character knows teleportation magic? How? Whatever. Anyways, Patches was not stupid enough to actually go through the teleport, the portal, and fall to his own death. So it's like, oh, you're much smarter than I thought. Freaking portal magic out of nowhere. He gets teleported into the castle, makes his own seating, and gets comfortable around the people. And then we go into what he does. And here's where things got really weird. He doesn't play with the mentality that I want my character to stay alive. He plays with the mentality I want my character to get shit. Like, I want my character to get all the shit. Let me explain. He wants to do blacksmithing. Ooh, here we go. Now that I think about it, I remember what happened with Dennis. That was pretty funny, but that'll be at a later session. He wants to do some blacksmithing. However, this orc is conveniently lesbian, and mentally she can't be seduced by Richard, or Patches, my apologies, even though he has like 20 charisma. Conveniently at level 7 or 6, my apologies. And it's like, what does Patches decide to do? Pulls out a dagger and contemplates cutting off his own penis. We all sat there. Yeah, you heard that right. I mean, if you're thinking to yourself, like, what the living shit? Exactly. Patches contemplated cutting off his own penis so that he could get trained in advanced blacksmithing. And he contemplated this for about like 15 minutes. And I mean, when I talk about how strange my group is, this is what I mean. They're just fucking, like, I don't know at this point. I don't know what drives them to do what they do, but just know they're like the strangest players I've ever seen in a single session. Delicious water. Oh god. And not only that, but we also had a good fella play with us named Jesse, who was only there for about an hour or two. And I'm only going to mention this real briefly. His character has a reputation. For burning shit, robbing banks, or attempting to rob banks and horribly failing. And it's quite funny, in all honesty. I mean, there's nothing more to say. What ends up happening? He tells Mako, are there any banks nearby? And Mako just straight up tells him, I've alerted them of your presence. They'll be on high alert while you're here. And it's like, damn it. Then, real briefly, we haven't found a use for this, so I think it's going to be an irrelevant item for the time being. He gives us like this item. Like this badge, right? And that badge basically says like, oh, these people are above the law, and well, not above the law, above like the ordinary guards, and they have special privileges. Freaking, the way Jesse depicted his character was like rocking back and forth in like the corner of like a freaking room. He's like, I am the law, I am the law, I am the law. And we're like, dude, are you sure we should give him this? In the end, he ended up keeping it, if I remember correctly. Now, all of that was just us showing up. Now we move on to the actual campaign. And my oh my, do I gotta tell you something? Remember when I mentioned earlier campaigns are meant to have, elaborate stories with characters, meaningful dialogue, choices and whatnot. Nope. This entire campaign so far in the past 3 sessions we've had has been a fetch quest. Now I'll be honest with you, me personally, I'm having fun with the campaign, but a fetch quest. Just saying. As I wrote here on my notes, first shitty quest of this campaign, we go to the land of Disney. Man, oh man, have I got a lot to talk about on this. Alright. So, I have no remembrance on how we got there. All I remember is that it was like some stupid ass traveling that, took basically like a little time skip, right? There was nothing, nothing too important happening, just a simple time skip along with, doing other mundane tasks like bathing yourself, playing card games with like other sailors and whatnot. Basically, not much to do on the boat before we actually get to where we need to be, if you understand where I'm going with this. With that, we make it to like an island, like a little peninsula or something. And they have like this castle there. And we all decide to visit this castle. And it was really strange to me. It was confusing more than anything, because it was like, this is, God. This is, why do I gotta talk about this? This is where we meet a character called, and it was a character, alright, so look, the Dungeon Master is the one in charge of creating characters, but no, the player is the one who had to create the character. Voice the character, depict the motions, depict the actions and emotions. Basically, the player is the Dungeon Master for this session, and I'm like, oh my god, Mario, what are you doing? Anyways, let me go back to my notes real quick. We ended up meeting, and of course, stereotypical fashion, disclaimer, I did not create this character, nor do I endorse it. Just to let you know, the person who created this character is Dennis, playing as Dennis. We meet Sharkeisha, the stereotypical black girl. She's basically a ghetto pixie or some shit like that. And I sat there like, oh my god, if I talk about this on YouTube, am I gonna get like sued? Hopefully not. In a nutshell, this like quest was pretty much us in a tour for about, we went on this tour like 4 times. Basically, welcome to Disney. Today I'm going to be your tour guide. God, she sounds like one of our teachers. Anyways, she's like, this is like the Disney resort. Welcome to the gift shop. God. Oh no. I'm gonna get someone upset. And I think I know who. So, what happens was, we have to retrieve this certain sword. The campaign revolves around us getting back, like, these swords. That's it. What, were you expecting a story? This is funny. During our tour, we actually see a sword that fits the description in which we have to get. The thing was that I found very concerning, and I thought that this was pretty funny, was that it's out in the open, guarded by 2 guards. Nothing more. Nothing less. Just 2 guards, the sword on the wall. That's it. Me thinking rationally, I'm like, this is too easy. It can't be the sword. So we keep on going with the tour, and here's where our character realized that something was really strange. When we were going around uh the the castle on tour, we had knocked on one of the doors, basically, hello. It was a pre-recorded like message, like, hold on, I'm busy. And then you knock again, say, hold on, I'm busy. Hold on, I'm busy. Hold on, I'm busy. And it's like, okay, that's really strange. So when we ended the tour, we're basically at like the gift shop. And Sharkeisha is like, make sure you buy like the Sharkeisha branded t-shirts so that I can get like the 15%. And it's like, ugh. So I basically have to distract this little pixie ass girl. And with that, I mean, this took a really decent turn. I mean, it was a lot easier than I had anticipated. What goes down is I distract Sharkeisha. The rest of the team, basically Patches and Dennis, go and go to the mayor's office, and they basically open the door. It's like all empty, right? So they open the door, and there's nothing. So Patches checks the desk, and it's like, oh, I found like architectural schematics and whatnot that prove that this place is like a replica. Like, this is not the real castle. It's just fake. There's no mention of a sword, however, that's for sure. So they go back to where the sword is, and they have to take down these two guards. So I'll get into like not the meat of it, but the simplicity of how it was. It took about 20 to 30 minutes to execute something so simple, yet they... Never mind. So, in a nutshell, all Patches did was cast sleep. One of them goes to sleep. The other one just instant knockout. Boom, done. What they did to plan for like 25 minutes, they executed in like 15 seconds. No kidding. I am not joking. That is basically what happened. And with that, it was okay. They took the sword. However, the thing was is that Mario told us before each session. It was like, "Oh, just to let you all know, I want you all to role play." So it's like role play, and each sword has its own personality, and like it'll decide who's worthy and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, my character's like a good character. He's helpful and all that whatnot. And you know, like, I see that as great. With that, I little did I know that we won't be getting any swords, as Mario told us freaking in between sessions like an idiot. Freaking whatever. As soon as Dennis or Patches tries to get the sword, they can't take it because the sword immediately burns them. So what do? Bag of holding. Done. That's literally how it was. It was literally that easy. According to Mario, he actually had more planned to it if we had actually not tried to take that one. But since we took it and it was the right one, well, we did it. That was that. That was the first sword. That was easy. And we ended up meeting up back up on the boat. And here's where things got interesting, and here's where I'll wrap up this little session. Tomorrow, I swear, the next episode I'm gonna go on a fucking rant. I'm telling you. Apparently our presence was known, and people of Bikini Bottom were tolling us. They're basically chasing us. Okay, it was we were on a ship. It's like, oh, like 3 civilian ships, and then we're like, civilian ships. It's like, oh, you know what, pirate ships. So they freaking curtains went over them and went away. And it's like, pirate ships, woo. There were 3 against 1, but our ship was bigger, and we had actually, they were gonna catch up to us, even though they were about like 3 miles away or something like that. And throughout those 3 miles, we basically tried planning our plans of attack, make sure what we're gonna do. And in the end, that is where I'm going to leave off this session for today, this recording session, this wonderful session that I enjoyed making. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed making it, and I truly wish to see you in the next episode of D&D Stories. Have a wonderful day wherever